Hi, my name's Rifat. Welcome to the marketing strategy session. So the success of any business is to ensure you have a sound marketing plan. This includes a number of different elements, things like market research, what you're going to sell your product at or service, where you're going to promote it, and also what the competition are doing. So throughout today's session, we're going to have a look at this in more detail and how you can ensure that you've got a sound marketing plan. So what is a marketing strategy? Well, a marketing strategy is really a way of helping you identify your customers, understanding their needs, and implementing the most effective methods. Above all, though, it helps you avoid costly mistakes that sometimes can be avoided just by making sure that you've done your market research. Creating a marketing strategy is all about knowing your USP, so understanding what your unique selling point is the start of understanding who and how you're going to promote. Knowing your customers and your clients. Being flexible. And making sure you do your research. So research could start off by sitting down and just having a look at what's already out there in terms of your product or your service. It might be about looking at what customers are already buying and why they're interested in buying that particular product or service. You can also see industry norms on whether there's a trend for this market, for this product or service in this market. So, for example, is the market in a growth stage or is it in a decline stage? Is it going to be something that's going to be easy to sell, or is it going to be a bit more challenging because you're changing norms? Think about all of these things when you're doing your research and identify exactly what it is that you're doing that's going to be a bit different from everybody else. Use visuals. So when you're creating your marketing strategy, think about how it is that you're going to market that particular product or your service. So before you even get into the exact elements of your product or your service, think about the visuals that you'll use in order to promote it. And then finally, know your budget. So a good marketing strategy can be done in a number of different ways. And a lot of people spend a lot of money using different sources in order to market their products or their services: TV, radio, billboard advertising, leaflets. But nowadays, you can actually do a lot of marketing that's totally free. And we'll have a look at that in more detail. So before you can actually think about promoting your products and services, you need to understand who you're marketing to. So this is called market segmentation. You can market your products according to demographics. So thinking about the types of market segmentation and who your customers are is really key to making sure that you provide those products and services where they're most needed. So you can use demographic segmentation, which is related to the age, the income, or the life stage that your customers are at. Psychographic segmentation, and this is now used more commonly, which is personalities and characteristics of your customers, some of the values and attitudes that they have, or the interests that they have. This is sometimes a lot more reliable because depending on the product or service that you've got, will target that audience in a much more appealing way. Behavioral segmentation is how the customer acts. So what are their spending habits? How do they interact with brands? Are they even brand aware? For example, if you're concentrating your service or your product to a high-end customer, do they really appreciate or understand what your brand stands for? If it is going to be high value, then you need to make sure you communicate that when you're promoting it. Also, think about their motivations. What needs are you meeting, or what desires are you meeting by providing this product or service? And then finally, the type of market segmentation you can use is geographical. This is where you think about your customer in terms of where they're situated. Are they in a city? Are they urban, rural? Does the climate affect what they buy and how they interact with their products and services? All of these elements make up an important part of market research. Once you've done your research, you can then really start to hone down and think about the target market. And this target market is really the group of not just all the customers, but the potential customers you want to sell to. So in a minute, I'll show you an example of what I mean by that. But really, you can't think about selling your product or your service to everyone. You'll find that you'll just not be able to meet their needs. Everybody will find it a bit confusing as to understand what it is that you're promoting, because they will receive those messages in different ways. So having a target market really helps you to understand which specific customers you're going to direct your marketing efforts to. It's identifying your target market that's essential to moving forward and making sure that you've got a successful marketing strategy. So the marketing mix is made up of the 4 Ps, which some of you may already have heard. Every marketing program contains these 4 components. This is the product or the service, the promotion methods, the place where you're actually going to sell the product, and then finally the pricing. So I said I was going to talk about an example, and this is an example here. If we think about this beard oil, it's definitely going to be something for a niche market. It's not something that everybody's going to want to buy. It's for men who are growing their beards, but also who are interested in maintaining that beard and making it look the best it can. So when you're thinking about your own product or service, think about what need it satisfies. Why is it that that particular group of customers would want to buy this product? Why does your customer need it? How will your customer use it? When will your customer use it? And how is it different from your competitors? So some products may well be seasonal, and so they might only be available at certain times of the year. You might find that your service, the one that you offer, is seasonal, and so for that reason, you might find that you have to ease up on the promotions and actually only center your promotions at times when it's a bit quieter. For example, the student rental market is very, very busy between August and September. After that, most agencies need to think about how they'll promote to students and get students to sign up for the following year. Place. So where will your customers look for your product? Are they already in that space already? Is it a physical store? If so, what kind? Will it be a Primark or a Prada? What I mean by this, is it going to be a high-end product, or is it going to be something which is affordable and yet still profitable? Is your product online? And if so, where online? Are you going to create your own website? Or are you going to promote your product or service through social media? In terms of where in you'll sell, you can also think about Amazon or already established distribution networks. If you haven't used, or if you're not going to be using the established distribution networks, what distribution channels will you use? How will your customers get that product or that service in their hands? And when I mean by service, how will they actually be able to engage with that service regardless of where they are, especially if it's something which is online? What are your competitors using? So again, a little bit of market research here. You're going to need to go away and look at what your competitors are doing in the same field, and also the same, maybe selling the same product or service. From there, you can take some of the ideas and hone in on them and think about how you might actually provide that service or product in a slightly different way. Pricing strategies. So there's lots and lots of different ways in which to price your products and services, but rather than me going into a huge amount of detail here, what I'm more interested in is thinking about the value of the product or service to the buyer. So some of the products or services that you've got to offer might be very, very niche in that not everyone else, or specialist, so that not everyone else can offer them. For example, if you're offering a service in coding for business, or teaching, training a group of people on coding in order to create websites, then you're probably in quite a niche individual market there, and you can price up your service accordingly. If, however, you're selling mobile phone covers, then your product is probably something which is quite easy to access and relatively cheap to buy. You'll need to think about how you're going to make that mobile phone case a little bit different in order to justify charging a higher price. Are your customers price sensitive? So a good example here is bread or beer. So if the price of bread went up, people would probably continue to still buy it because it's something of an essential. However, if the price of beer went up, they might not necessarily go out and buy that. They might actually switch their brands and buy something that's relatively cheaper. It'll all depend on the market research you've done for your customers. Some customers are more price sensitive than others. Similarly, if it's a premium product, it could be that you need to make sure that your price reflects that and that it's not marked lower and that the customers will think that it's of low value. Will you offer discounts? So if you are going to offer discounts, think about how this is going to affect your profits. Is it going to be offered to customers that have signed up with you or already with you, loyal customers? Or is it going to be something that you're only going to offer as a one-off? Think about this when you're deciding on your pricing. And then again, look at what your competitors are charging. See how much it is that they are charging for each of their different products and services, and see again how you can compare and make sure that you're offering a similar sort of pricing. Finally, where will you promote your product? So when you're getting the marketing messages out there, you need to do what we call a call to action. A call to action is making sure that the customer knows what to do next. So for example, if you've sent your customers a promotion on the latest beauty item, then you need to make sure that they know where to click on that promotion in order to carry out the sale. If you don't do this, you'll lose the marketing. The marketing efforts won't be worth doing. How will you reach your audience? Is it going to be online? Is it going to be through the press? Is it going to be the activities of direct marketing, such as leaflet drops, or, as I said, promotional emails that will be sent directly to the actual individuals? Is it a blog which is going to be written, which is going to then interact with the audience in order to get them to take action and buy your products or service? Is there seasonality in your specific market? So I mentioned student lettings, and that's a similar sort of thing. You could have a blog that gets sent to your customers around about February time, talking about different availability of student accommodation, and you can really start getting them to maybe add the name to the list of updated information. And this will basically mean that when you have got those properties ready to sell to them, they're able to get in through the door before anyone else. This helps with making sure that you are promoting your products and your services in a way that's cost effective and really towards your target market. And then we always end with this, but think about how your competitors or what your competitors are doing in terms of reaching the target market as well. So it could be that you might not have a similar target market to your customers, to your competitors, but there could be some similarities. So have a little look at what they're doing and try again to think about how you can add to that or create something as an alternative, or take it apart. Maybe your competitors or you yourself have received an email or a promotional ad from your competitor, and you've really been disappointed with it, thinking, well, this isn't really what I would necessarily buy, or this isn't something which is appealing to me. So think about what you would do to make it different. Stand in the shoes of your customers. So over to you then. What you need to do in the next 5 to 10 minutes is write down your own plan. Think about what it is that your product or service is. what you are selling. Is it going to be something that's going to be local, or is it regional, or is it national? Start to think about who your competition is and how are you different from your competition. What is your USP? Think about the price and what you're going to charge. Is it going to be a premium product, or is it going to be something which is going to be affordable and also valuable? What do your competitors do to market their products? Again, do some market research as to what they're doing and how they're doing it. Sign up to their newsletter to get some information as to how they promote. And then what are your promotion methods? Think about how you can be more creative than them. Think about social media and how you might use that. Are you going to distribute your product by yourself, or will your business be located somewhere where the distribution is available very, very quickly and easily? So that's the end of the session. If you're interested in finding out more, if you'd like to start up your own idea, then you can search enterprise and startup on the intranet. You can visit us on the Skills Hub on the second floor, or you can email us. Thanks for listening.